Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Sam and I am the one of the Power BI enthusiasts. As I have made a couple of videos upon the IELTS, which is actually International English Language Testing System, and how it is minting money from the innocent public around the world. Today is the day I will be showing the visualizations about the data. So IELTS, as we all know, that it has captured around the entire world except few parts of Africa and Greenland, but it has made money from around all the part of the countries from the world. And who are the two main stakeholders? Those are British Council and IDP Australia. Those together have made 3.5 trillion US dollars since the half of the yearly in 2018, and they're about to make another 3.5, which will be $7 trillion by the end of this year. So something we should do about it, because this test is based upon this test data that I've taken from the different band scores, such as about the scores regarding the academic and general training test, where people have to measure their English speaking skills across the world. Now it is a very pathetic to say that we have to give this test as because we cannot speak English. I mean, the British have ruled at least 90% around the world and everybody can speak English, and still we need to give such a test and we have to waste so much of our money. That is really a very big concern as of now. Well, academics are basically for entering into any foreign universities, and general training is for any immigration. Furthermore, these two tests are divided into 4 different modules, which is listening test, reading test, writing test, and speaking test. And in this data, there are 2 different parts, which is academic test takers and general training test takers for the female and the male. As well as the this test is been for taken by the frequent countries who are been involved of taking this takes ad hocly, and those countries where English is not their first language, where the first language is something else, such as Arabic is for the Arabs, Bengalis for the eastern part of the India, Filipino for Philippines, French for the France, where English is not the first language. So this is all about we have taken in this data set. Now we have built the data set, we have applied the calculations, and today we will be applying the visualizations. So what I have done is I have taken the data into separate calculations, and my first thing is applying the data using the academics test for the frequent countries who are involved in this taking tests. So I'm taking the countries as my first, and I am using my female test takers as the listening part, as well as the male test takers as one of the other governing part. So you can see that the countries bar is much higher than the female and the male test takers in listening combined, but that is not as because I haven't applied the slicer. So if I apply for the frequent countries, which is this one, and if I take the slicer of the listening, you can very well see that as my scores are, these are my scores, 8.50 and the 3.68 as the minimum score they have attained by the students while taking this test in the academic part. So as I reduce this scores, my country is getting reduced, but the listening test and the listening test for the male test takers are getting summarized. So this is for the listening I have taken it like this way, which shows that the listening tests are basically taken more by the females and they have scored more than the males. And in second, I have made another one where I've taken the reading for the frequent test takers, and I have taken as this one as a slicer, and I have taken the countries again with the female test takers as the reading and the male test takers as the reading. So once I take it, it comes in here, and the scores is now varied till 8.0, and it was previously 8.50. So 0.5 is the difference. As you can see from here, the minimum score was 3.68 and the maximum was 8.50, and the minimum is 3.75 and maximum is 8.0, and you can see the ratio varies a much size. Now if I a little bit decrease my report in here, I can very well see that my reading test takers are both gets increased. And if I use this as my pie chart, which is this one, taking the countries as in my tooltips, I can very well see that the reading is equally distributed into both the parts. That means reading is getting much more acclaimed by the female and male test takers, which is very much pertain to show that there is no need to take English test again and again by the people. But if I move it to the legend, I can, or if I move it to the details, I can see this, that if I take this to the details, I can see that the readings is actually equally measured for all the different parts. That means people don't have to take the English tests for over and over again, and these companies are making money out of it. Now putting back all together into same values, and if I put this in the same values from where it actually began, I can say that it has been quite a scenario. Now similarly, if I take my measure as the writing section, and if I take this as a slicer, and if I drag this to size it up, and this time I take the countries as again my main parameter, and I put this in here, and this time I will use the flow chart or filter chart, and if I use the female test takers as the writing and the male test takers as again the writing, so you can see this, that the male and female are both doing not so good in the writing part, whereas the female test takers are way ahead in the writing and the male test takers are way low in the writing. But if I reduce the score band and limit the score band, I can very well see that there is not a single effect in this part, and furthermore it has no effect because in the writing part everybody is scoring equal. Everyone is scoring an equal part in here. So it again shows that our system of taking this test is not at all necessary from the candidates and by the people, because it is taking much more of efficiency, which it should not be. And to finish it off, the last one is the speaking. So if I take the slicers as speaking section in here, I can very well govern again my countries as the main part, and as well as I take the female test takers as a speaking and the speaking from the male test takers, and I can see that it gives me the perspective that the females are in leading and the males are lagging. So that means we must encourage more of females in speaking rather than in males. But if I take the overall strategy, which is basically this one, that the overall of the female and male regarding the gender, I can see that the ratio numbers are not as much, varies exactly 0.03 or 0.04. So if I take the overall, I can make quite a summation that the overall for the frequent test takers, again I'll take the countries as my main. Along with that, I'll take the female test takers as overall and the male test takers as overall, that they are having the same graph or the same bar chart, which shows quite a linearity into the equation. So even if I move any of this part, I can get a value sizable into the position, and I can understand the data is working quite perfectly well for all these parts. So this is one of my observation for the academic tests for frequent countries. Now the next one, I will definitely work upon the general training part, which is the immigration, to stop or to at least notification to IELTS that they must stop taking the test from the candidates, because it is giving the exactly same results over and over again, and there is no such values for them or take the money, because nothing is getting improved or nothing is getting anything out of the box thinking. So therefore they must have to consider. And if you like this my work in Power BI regarding IELTS, please don't forget to subscribe and keep on the bell icon. Till then, thank you very much. Bye.